Here at Toycon Manila, history is made today as we bring you the very first Warhammer the Old World battle report from the Philippines. Legends will rise and epic tales will be forged in the heat of battle. It's 2,000 points of the High Elf realms versus 2,000 points of the Empire of Man in the game of Warhammer the Old World. This is TOE in 20 minutes. The Knife Ears have deployed some Ellyrian Reavers on both flanks of the battlefield. 20 Lothan Sea Guard who, if you couldn't figure out, are supposed to guard the sea, which is odd considering this battle takes place on a mountain. 10 Elves from Hoeth plus another 16 Elves from Hoeth are Swordmasters, and after being alive for 500 years or so, they bloody well should be. As far as shooting goes, the High Elves have 2 units of 10 Elven Archers and 3 Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers that are spread across the field. A Lion Chariot of Grace rolls up the center. A Mage is deployed for one reason. Fireball. A unit of Silver Helms are deployed at the side of the General. An Elven Prince with a 2-up armor save and the Bow of Avalorn. Avalorn let him borrow it. He'll give it back when they win. Which they will because they're fighting the Empire. Who have what? Some knights, some state troops, and holy shit, that is a big Imperial Griffin. The General riding it also has armored of silvered steel and a dragon bow, who he borrowed from a dragon. He'll give it back when he wins, which he will, because they have a steam tank. An engineer operates a Hellblaster volley gun, and near them are 4 Demigryph knights. A captain leads the state troops and wields a burning blade, a white cloak, and the battle standard. And in the same unit, some animal poacher who thought killing an eagle and wearing it as a hat was a good idea is also apparently a master mage. Speaking of magic, here's Dumbledore. A level 4 wizard, riding a Pegasus and wearing the Ruby Ring of Ruin. Lastly, 2 units of Dwarven Vanguard scouts have agreed to help fight the High Elves as they have a whole encyclopedia of grudges against them. The High Elf realms, turn 1. The Ellyrian Reavers gallop ahead as the Sea Guard move forward and come to a horrible realization.
Sea Guard! What is your profession?
We guard the sea.
So, where is the sea exactly?
Swordmasters move forward. The other unit of Ellyrian Reavers move forward. The Archers move forward. The Lion Chariot moves forward. But in a shocking turn of events, the Silver Helms move sideways. The shooting phase. Guess what spell the Mage is casting? Fireball. He attempts to cast Fireball but fails harder than Chaos Dwarfs do in this edition. The Elven Archers, who have about 300 years of target practice on their resume, shoot at the state troops and 5 of them are struck down. The other archers release a flurry of arrows into the dwarf scouts and 2 of them cop arrows through their beards and into their necks. The bolt thrower on the far end launches a bolt at the Hellblaster volley gun, causing a wound to the machine. The other 2 bolt throwers fire at that beautifully painted griffin, but fail to wound.
Sea Guard! What is your profession?
Well, I guess we could, kill some dwarfs.
Sea Guard do in fact kill the dwarves. The Empire of Man, turn 1. The dwarves run forward as fast as they can, which isn't very fast at all. And guess what the rest of the army do in turn 1 movement phase? The Empire Knights, forward. The state troops with the captain's VSB, forward. The Demigryphs, forward. The Pegasus, slightly forward. The Steam Tank, forward. The Imperial Griffin, forward. But those other knights pivot, and then move forward. The shooting phase. The Eagle Poaching Wizard casts Fireball on the Archers. I mean, he doesn't cast Fireball on the Archers. So Dumbledore uses the Ruby Ring of Ruin to cast Fireball on the Reavers. I mean, he doesn't use the Ruby Ring of Ruin to cast Fireball on the Reavers. The Hellblaster volley gun unleashes a whopping 16 shots into the small force of Ellyrian Reavers. Ha! Survived that. Holy shit, they survived that. The steam tank fires, aiming for the Swordmasters. The cannonball hits the ground 2 inches away from where it was placed and bounces another 2 inches. Doing nothing. The steam tank may have the size, but it's dysfunctional and doesn't perform very well. The guy with the long rifle in the tank fires at the Swordmaster unit champion and manages to cause more wounds than an entire tank, simply because it's a dice game. The Dwarf Scouts fire at the Swordmasters, but it seems they aren't grudging hard enough. The High Elf Realms, turn 2. The 3 miraculous survivors of the Hellmaster Polygon's wrath charge into Dumbledore while the Lion Chariot charges into those poor dwarves. The other Ellyrian Reavers move forward, as do the Swordmasters. The Sea Guard shuffles sideways. The rest of the elves suddenly become wary of the premature steam tank that can't seem to satisfy. So the mage hides next to the bolt thrower, and the Silver Helms move backwards. 10 elven archers shuffle sideways, while the other 10 move backwards. The mage casts his favorite spell against the knights.
Sea God, what is your profession?
Well, I guess we could, hey, look, a griffin.
Kill the griffin!
The Sea Guard don't seem to be much good at their new profession, as they shoot at the griffin but cause no wounds. The first bolt thrower fires at the Hellblaster and misses. With a thunderous crack, the second bolt thrower unleashes its deadly payload, striking the majestic griffin, causing a wound. The third bolt thrower also targets the griffin, but the beast is unfazed. The Ellyrian Reavers also shoot at the griffin, but their arrows bounce off its hide. And it seems like the entire High Elf army's profession is to kill the griffin, as the archers also shoot at it, but fail to wound it. The combat phase. As expected, the Lion Chariot overruns the 3 dwarves and charges into the Empire Knights, but the Knights countercharge. The Ellyrian Reavers slash into Dumbledore, causing a single wound. The Empire Knights fail to harm the chariot at all, and so the lions tear apart 2 of them as if they were merely antelope. The Empire of Man, turn 2. The gloriously painted griffin charges the Ellyrian Reavers, who do not shit themselves. And even though there's no hope in hell the Reavers will win this combat, the Empire Knights decide to charge into them too anyway, because completely annihilating units is fun. The state troops press onward. The shooting phase. The steam tank finally goes a bit longer this round and smashes the Swordmasters and the Sea Guard in one go. The cannonball wipes out 2 in each unit. The long rifle dude in the tank follows up by shooting a single Swordmaster through the eye. The Eagle Wizard tries to cast what spell?
Fireball.
That's right. And does he cast it? That's right. The Griffin and the Knights slay 4 out of 5 Reavers, causing the last Reaver to flee, which the Griffin demolishes. The other 3 Reavers, however, have some success and manage to slay the level 4 wizard, Dumbledore. I'm not a Harry Potter fan, so this doesn't affect me at all, which is why I named him Dumbledore and not Gandalf. The Lion Chariot slaughters the remaining knights. The High Elf Realms, turn 3.
Sea God, what is your profession?
Being 1 Ahu short, they fail their charge against the Griffin. Clearly they still have their sea legs. The Lion Chariot charges the state troops. The Ellyrian Reavers, after slaying Dumbledore, charge into the flank of the Demigryphs. The Swordmasters advance. The Silver Helms gallop over to the left. The archers shuffle sideways. The Elven Mage, who is about as useful as infantry in this edition, walks forward into the shooting phase and actually manages to cast Fireball, which the Eagle Wizard almost dispels. The fireball explodes into the steam tank, causing the carburetor to overheat and stop working. In other words, it does a wound. The archers fire at the Hellmaster volley gun, and holy shit, how did all of you miss? What have you been doing for the past 500 to 1,000 years? The other archers fire at the steam tank. Ha! What are arrows gonna do against a tank? Maybe they'll hit the oil filter or something. They hit the oil filter. Oil starts pissing out of the tank as it takes 1 wound from the archers. Ah, it's a dice game. The Elven Prince, inspired by his archers, uses the Avalorn bow to fire at the steam tank's shock absorbers, but his arrow completely misses the tank. A bolt thrower rapid fires into the Griffin. It hits its mark and causes a single wound. A second bolt thrower rapid fires at the Griffin, scoring yet another wound on the Empire General. The third bolt thrower rapid fires at the Hellblaster volley gun and wipes out the entire machine. The combat phase. The Lion Chariot smashes into the state troops with some impact hits, killing 3 of them. The Lion then tears apart 1 more as the troops strike back and make absolutely no difference whatsoever. The Chariot crews swing away with their great weapons and behead 2 more troops. losing combat by a shitload. The troops take a break test and all of them are easily run down by the Lion Chariot of Christ. The charioteers claim the standard and the battle standard. The Illyrian Reavers hack into the demigriffs who simply laugh at their efforts as their thick ass prevents any wounds. So a single demigriff makes all three of the Reavers regret their life decisions as it devours all of them. The Empire of Man, turn 3. The Knights ignore the Sea Guard and charge into the flank of the Swordmasters. The Empire General makes his fabulous griffin pivot. The steam cannon rolls forward with oil pissing out of it, and the demigriffs gallop forward. The shooting phase. The steam cannon, perfectly lined up to face the Swordmasters, takes a shot and misfires and can't shoot this turn. The Empire General fires at the bolt thrower with his dragon bows, which utterly smashes the machine to pieces. The combat phase. The Empire Knights cut down 4 Swordmasters who are unable to attack back and lose combat. They flee from guys on horses, meaning that they are screwed. The High Elf Realms, turn 4. The Silverhelms attempt to charge the demigriffs, but fall short by less than 1 inch. The remaining Swordmasters attempt to charge the Knights, but also fall short by about 1 inch. The Sea Guard pivot. The Lion Chariot pivots to return to the fray. The archers shuffle forward. The shooting phase. The mage fails to cast Fireball for the 3rd time this match, and the archers fire at the steam tank, but their arrows bounce right off it. A bolt thrower fires at the demigriffs and pierces the demigriffs, causing 1 wound. The other bolt thrower launches a bolt at the steam tank, which smashes through its pump belt, meaning the operators inside no longer have any aircon and take 1 wound. The Sea Guard fire at the griffin but don't cause even a single wound. The Empire of Man, turn 4. The Knights charge into the Swordmasters and the demigriffs charge into the Silverhelms. The cannon pivots, just because it can. The griffin flies around to face the Sea Guard, keeping its distance. The Empire General fires an arrow from the dragon bow, which slashes through the chest of one of the Sea Guard. Despite charging the Swordmasters, the Empire Knights underestimated the name Swordmasters and get slaughtered by them, unable to kill any of them. The demigriffs kill off 3 Elven Silverhelms and wound the prince. They give ground and the demigriffs follow up. The High Elf Realms, turn 5. The Lion Chariot charges the steam tank in the flank. The Sea Guard naturally charge into the Griffin because it's their profession. The Swordmasters reform to face the steam tank. The chariot smashes into the tank, causing its timing belt to snap, causing another wound. The charioteers cause another wound to the tank with their great weapons, and for whatever reason, the steam tank has stomp attacks. The Silverhelms cause 1 wound to the demigriff, and they return the favor by wounding the prince and killing a Silverhelm. The Griffin kills 4 Sea Guard, but one of them manages to wound the Griffin. They lose combat but do not flee, as it is their profession. The Empire of Man, turn 5. The steam tank and chariot remain locked in combat, causing no wounds this turn. The prince finally kills a demigriff, but the other 3 kill off the rest of his unit, leaving only the prince remaining. That contest-worthy painted griffin kills 5 Sea Guard, but the second rank strikes the beast back, leaving the general and his mount on their final wound. The Sea Guard decide that this job sucks and quit their profession, heading back to the sea.
Nice Swiss ride, car. Swiss ride? Yeah, so you roll another dice because you have Swiss ride. Patay.
Nice game.
They are hacked to pieces by the Imperial Griffin. At the end of turn 5, a d6 was rolled, but alas, the dice gods have decided that this is where the game ends. I have a feeling it was a draw.